Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnik from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnik. You can see me here. I'm in Adelaide. Planes going overhead. It's beautiful blue skies. It's day three of the test between, of course, Australia and England. We've got 1 and 2 gone Australia's way big time. They're 9 for 473. That's 9 for 473. And poor England, well, they can't take a trick at the moment. They're languishing at early wickets have fallen. They're 2 for 17 off some 8.4 overs. And they went off on 8.4 overs. You might wonder why they went off at 8.4 overs, but in fact they went off because of a major thunderclap that hit the stadium. And not only did the thunderclap come down, but the lightning bolt was also there at almost the same time, which usually refers to quite a dramatic moment of, the players decided to get off, didn't they? Leaving all the fans sitting there exposed to the elements, but players quickly bolted off. So we were all sitting there watching an empty ground with a few drops of rain. Obviously, the storm came through quite directly over the venue. The plane's also not far away as well, so it was quite a dramatic moment. But yes, it was quite a day. So we might just make a point of put a banner across the bottom here, and we'll just talk about. And I'll actually just fix that banner a bit. Australia were 5 for. What were they? They were 5 for. No, actually, no, they were 9. Well, no, how many were they? They were, in fact, how many wickets down were they? Were 9. They were 9 down, of course. 9 declared for 473. And England 2 for 17. I'll put that across the bottom. There we have it. So yeah, the comments now, and I'll have it on the bottom. So I'm basically in. I'm now currently in Adelaide, as you know. I've got they call the advertiser. The advertiser is the Adelaide version of what would effectively be the papers on the East Coast, and this paper covers obviously sport. Now we have the heading "Sports" on their nesses. So England is so on their nesses, which implies, of course, on their knees, they're down and out. So you notice there's an article about Cummings and going. So Cummings is actually, Pat Cummings will escape on a private charter jet to Sydney as Cricket Australia Slam suggestions it had hastily ruled its captain out of the second test. Stood down from the pink ball clash after being deemed a close contact with COVID case. Cummins was granted permission by South Australia Health on Friday night to break his 7-day isolation period. He will reunite with partner Becky and son Albion in Sydney. So I'm not sure that's really what it's all about. That probably shouldn't have happened. So yeah, that's another issue altogether. We've got a lot of controversy over the fact that he could actually leave, break his quarantine. I find that rather sad. So we'll take a photo of that. Yes, so that was part of the situation as well. So I just want to say, I can't see people. The notes are not that clear. Yeah, so I'm not in Sydney. No, I'm actually in Adelaide. at my good friend, work colleague Tony Rose's home, who's been on the videos before. He's been a so-called curator for, not curator, but a historian for Bradman Foundation stuff that exists here in Adelaide. Of course, Bradman Home is here, the Bradman Home, which Bradman lived at when he was, the last 65 years of his life, as a matter of fact, even though he was, let's just get this light going a bit better. All right. So, yeah, so there's a lot to be seen here from this situation. Yeah, so Australia 9 for 473. We had quite a few centuries. Well, at least one century. We had Labuschagne got 103 in a rather muted fashion. David Warner scored 95 with 11 fours. Labuschagne scored 103 with 8 fours. Took him 305 minutes to get there. Steve Smith 93 was off 201 balls, 12 fours and 6. So those three men certainly backbone the innings. But then Alex Carey came in later with 51, Stark 39, and Nisa 35. Very impressive indeed. And this is what Kerry O'Keefe had to say about the Nisa fairy tale. When you do your time, as Michael Nisa has done, and you wait for your chance, it's the dream to get it in your first over, and that was the exaltation that everybody shared with him. O'Keefe said on Fox. So that's true. It's a rather big moment for him, as Ben Horn is here writing here, and the advertiser is obviously writing in the Sydney Melbourne papers as well. Robert Craddock's article there is also quite damning, actually. He talked about England needed to take up the attack and unleash Wood. And that's true. They probably needed to be a bit more aggressive. Then Andrew Capel has talked about Alex Carey right at home and Test Arena with a classy knock. He certainly was classy. Sam Landsberger talks about another failure has Rory Burns' career burning out quickly under stark flame. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of drama there about that. We'll certainly be talking more about that. So, yeah, it's not a good time in the morning to be having an actual live video, but I've got my suntan lotion here. Got some sunscreen more than suntan lotion. It's not really trying to get me a suntan. It's more trying to get me screened off from the sun. So, yeah, so we might just do that as well. So we haven't got a lot of people watching. It's unusual time. I probably started a bit earlier. That's right. So looking at the series of so when is the test on, guys? What was I going to say? England certainly, look, I was saying very confidently that England would come back and win this test with the likes of Anderson and Broad. Now, Anderson and Broad have both bowled well in this test, and they both took wickets in the end, but they struggled a bit because the batting was particularly good. And you had Anderson's figures of 2 for 58, Broad had 1 for 73, Wokes had 1 for 103, bowled pretty poorly. Ollie Robinson had 1 for 45, bowled okay. Then Ben Stokes came on and took 3 for 113 and Root 1 for 72. So Anderson took 2, Broad 1 and Stokes 3. So there were 6 wickets between them, with Wokes taking 1 and Robinson taking 1, makes 8, Root taking the other. So they shared it. But look, Ben Stokes shows his wear every single time. And in the bowling department for Australia, already Stark's taken a wicket and Nisa's taken a wicket, with Jybridge isn't yet to open his bowling wicket taking account for this test match. So, but England, look, I did say 3-2 would be the result of this test series, and although it's looking less likely now, it's still not out of the realm. England, had they won the toss and batted first and got a lot of runs, we may be looking at a different story, but clearly we're not. Australia have landed on Travis Head with his innings in the previous innings, but I don't necessarily think that he's showing form that's long lasting. And why I'm saying that, look what happened yesterday with it was bowled neck and crop by Joe Root for a fairly paltry score. He's got to do more than just score one big innings out of the box. He's got to do it regularly, and that's where the differences between he and other batsmen have been over the years. I know he was under 19 Australian captain. I get that, but I don't know whether he was necessarily, whether that's enough of a reason to, have him there. So look, at this point in time, 9 for 73, 2 for 17 odd, Australia in the box seat. They may well go very close to winning this and winning this easily. We're into the third day today. England need to be resolute in this innings, not like the other test, the previous test where they batted well, you would argue in the second innings, they need to do it in the first innings. And if England can get a partnership going with Milan and Root, and you've got Stokes and you've got Pope and you've got Butler still floating around there, they could put it on a score. The day's a belter. It's as sunny as hell. There's not a cloud in the sky. It'll be 30 plus degrees. It's really a batting paradise. If we can see a different set of figures this today, England may be able to score 300 plus. Well, let's hope they do, because at least it'll make it a little bit more against Australia. Well, not slightly. The fact is Australia, look like they're going to win. Okay, so that's 473 for 9, 2 for 17. Saying we get 300 plus, that still gives Australia a lead of 150 plus, and that's a huge lead. If they battle a bit further and get again over 300 lead, England will find it very difficult to keep them out. But we'll see. It's not impossible. This is where grit has to come in. Perhaps England can get away with a draw in this match. That'll show their determination, because Melbourne, Sydney, and Hobart will certainly be increasingly in their favour. And that's still been 3 games to go. If it's 1-0 down going to that, they could have a chance. I'm being ultra positive, you might argue, with the England side, but I think we must understand the reflections back on the previous year. When I was here in Adelaide for the test last year, India were all out for 36. Australia won handsomely. Joe Burns scored a 50 to win the match. Everything looked rosy, but very, very quickly, by the end of the series, Joe Root was dropped. India had won the second test in Melbourne with Rahane as captain, so they had lost Kohli. They didn't have Rohit Sharma either in that first test. Then ultimately, they fought hard and they drew the Sydney test, which they probably could easily have lost, with Ashwin and bat with Vihari, and they made them survive that match. And then ultimately the last match, they won. Rishabh Pant and co. Siraj bowling well. Shubman Gill, a whole host of bowlers did very well. And ultimately, India won the series 2-1. So if a turning point's going to happen in this series, it's going to have to be now. For England, they're going to have to dig in this first innings. They've lost 2 wickets, unfortunately, last night, yes. But they've still got Milan and Root there. They've got Pope, Stokes and Butler. So they've got 5 players that could hold this together. And if they show some true grit, we might see the score reach 300 plus and then start to improve their chances of at least potentially saving the match. Winning the match, extremely unlikely. Losing the match, highly likely at this point. If England can bust out a draw, well, at least that puts them in good stead for the Melbourne test. We'll wait and see. And not forgetting they haven't got Perth to finish with. They've got Hobart, which should favour England slightly more than Australia. Okay, so it is morning time. Ankush Singh, we've got it's adorable background here. This is not about pool. I might actually take you down to the beach in a minute. We might go for a little walk. We might just do that and see how we go, and have a look at what I call West Beach. This is very close to Adelaide Airport. West Beach doesn't seem like west, it seems south to me, but anyway, it's called West Beach. It's between Glenelg, which is a very famous beach resort area of Adelaide. Glenelg, as in Glenelg, Glenelg. And then further down is a place called Henley Beach, but in between is this area called West Beach. And just to my right, maybe your left or my right, is about maybe a few kilometres away is the Adelaide International and Domestic Airport. But this is a beautiful spot. The beach is just, the water's clear as that pool behind me. So Hi everyone. Hello, Gaming with Punjali. Some of you guys are up very early, aren't you? What time is it now? It's I'm just going to check the exact dates of having a little look at the dates of the test match in Hobart. Some matches upcoming. So we've got the test match. Pakistan playing the West Indies. And of course, the 26th we have I need to go through series. Here we go. Men's Ashes series. Okay, so Australia play England on the 26th to the 30th of December. Then they play in Sydney on the 5th to the 9th. Then they play in Hobart from the 14th to the 18th. So the 14th to the 18th is the period. You would argue it's a hot time of the year to play. You would argue it's a good time of the year to go to Hobart. So Paul Newman's, I can see, is online. You guys, so I'm going to move back a little bit. Let's just get some better sunshine here. I'm trying to get better. I'm going to get myself out of the sun. There we are. Can't see a bloody thing on the screen. I might have to actually turn on this. I'll look at it while we're doing this. Should go into my session when I can. Let's have a look. For those of you who, I'm not in Bora Bora. Okay, so you can be sure of that. I'm not in Bora Bora. At all. Let's have a look here. That's a wrong one. Okay, so let's have a look. I can see a few of you there. You got Abid. Says, good morning. Root and Milano have to play another innings. They certainly do. Game with Paranjay's here. Paul Newman says, England need a spinner. Well, yeah, they do need a spinner. You're totally right, Paul Newman. I mean, England do have Joe Root, but they've left out a Leach, haven't they, for the purposes of bolstering their medium to fast bowling attack, but they haven't really done as well as they should. But look, you've still got two of the best there in Anderson and Broad, certainly. England should leave the tour and midway and save themselves from further embarrassment. Aditya Rai, that's a bit heavy. I don't know whether that's we could easily do the same thing when India all out for 36. James Weldon, hi Norman. Will the Aussies go 2-0 up after this game? So James, they probably, you'd have to think the likelihood is very strong that they will. And at this point in time, there's no doubt that is likely to be the case. But I still think that England will do well in the last. England will do well in Melbourne, Sydney, Hobart. So Paul Newman reckons that Lyon will have a big say in the match. He certainly will. He bowled well in the last match. He got 4 wickets. He bowled particularly well. The fact that Leach is not there is disappointing. Even Dom Best could have come on. Yeah, they may rue not having a spinner. I think Wokes was the one that I was a bit surprised at coming into this match. Anderson, Broad, and Riley Robinson. I got it, and they've all taken wickets. Wokes did take a wicket, but he went for well over 100. He looked bowled far too short and was easy pickings for Warner, Labuschagne, and Smith, and even some of the tailenders as well. So realistically, is it too late for? Is it too late then? Is it too late then for New South? No, it's not too late. Okay, if England can bat out today into the fourth day still batting and muster up a score of anywhere 300 plus, maybe 350 with a bit of luck. Okay, they're still 120 odd runs behind, but they've eaten up a fair bit of time, and Australia will have to bat on somewhat to get themselves over 300 odd runs themselves and give England a total of 300. And England can, and South Africa have done it before, where they bat out that last day. I remember Faf du Plessis batted an entire day, got very few runs, but he blocked the whole last day on Adelaide. So it's not impossible to do. And England need to show a bit of fight in their batting. They really do. I'm very unfortunate with the way they haven't been able to do that. So this is headed. I'm going to Bora Bora, but well, I'm actually in Adelaide. I'm going to go to West Beach and then I'm going to take a little walk down there and have a look. So Steve Smith, what are you saying then? Harris also needs to be dropped. I agree, Paul Newman. Steve Smith is captain and Warner is vice captain. Did you right? You are exactly right. You watch the byplay that happens on the ground, you'll see Steve Smith at second slip, Dave Warner at first slip, pointing player there, dictating terms. And Travis said he may be vice captain, but he's over there at point gully area and not saying anything other than an occasional pat on the backside of one of the bowlers. You're right. Dave Warner has assumed his little captaincy role again without being officially put that way. And there's that Smith-Warner triumvirate going on again, which is, it's almost dynamics back to what it was. Do they deserve to be in that position? I don't think they do. James Weldon saying that England should have had to win the first test. Well, England never expected to win the first test. That was the fact of it. They should have won the first test, yes. They never expected to win that match. The fight has to come out of the batters. They started to fight in the first test with Milan and Root. They did a pretty good job, but they didn't quite get there. Now they're in again in perfect batting conditions. Look at the sky above me. It's blue. It's not even a skerrick of a cloud up there. And we're going to have a bottler of a day, and it should suit the England batsmen down to the ground. Even though we've lost Hamid and Burns, well, that's happened last night under very trying conditions with lightning bolts and everything, calling Nisa electric Nisa. So yeah, that's an interesting little situation there. So I think that Milan, Root, Pope, Stokes and Butler, those five batters have to really stand up today and show their wares. And Wokes certainly, and Robertson, because especially Wokes, who's got any hope of being in the next test match. They should have brought Wood in again, but anyway, they've rested him. We're going to understand their rotation policy. They've got some guys that, as in Anderson, who's 39, and Broad, who's in his late 30s as well, both needing to be spared on occasions, and fair enough. They're both bowling very well in this match. Australia just batted sufficiently well. I just don't know whether we're going to see the best of England here. I hope we do. They've got 3 days to play in this match. Only one team has batted. So if England can try to hang out the rest of today and into tomorrow, well, that starts to put time pressure on the game somewhat. And even if England only get 300 to 350, which is, when I say only, it's still a lot of runs considering where they're in a position they're in now. If they get 300 plus runs, time will be eaten up. That means today will be virtually taken up, and perhaps a bit of the fourth day, which will mean even though Australia will be still well and truly on top with 120 or 30 runs in front, they would still have to get another couple hundred to make certain that they're not going to lose the match. And that eats into the last day. And then England, if they can pull their finger out and the wicket doesn't deteriorate and the line doesn't get the true relationship, we might see that. I hark back to the way India came back. England have to take confidence in the way India came back without their captain Virat Kohli, with a number of players out, down on their troops. In fact, by the end of the series, they had 8 or 9 of their players out, and they still beat Australia. So you need that freshness to their attitude, and I think They really, really, really need that, and it's something that's just not there at the moment. It's very, very disappointing indeed. All right, so having talked about that, we can talk a bit about Pakistan, West Indies. Pakistan bowling attack is lethal. Then you've also got the upcoming series between India and South Africa, which is happening, of course, in South Africa. The Indians have made their way there. Today being the 18th. They're about a week and a bit out from, or 8 days out from the first test match, which will be on what I would call Boxing Day. India will play South Africa. Now, South Africa's bowling attack is very, very strong, but India's side really, really, really should be able to do a good job there. Okay, do you think we will see Josh Hazlewood again this series? Good question, Paul Newman. I would think that we may see him rested again for another test, at least. A side strain. Josh Hazlewood's never had that sort of injury. They're quite long-term effects. We may see him. It might be a struggle to see him back based on fitness, not on talent, of course. Where is your money? India, much better team than England. Where's my money, James? Well, I've been talking all along. I actually said 3-2 in England. 3-2 England. But this test is not going the way I would have thought it would. So, and if England can pursue this and have a draw, we could have a 2-2 series. So I'm still taking one match off, which I thought they would win this. So I bring it back to 2-2 with a draw. I think Cummins is paper captain and Smith is the actual captain. You're totally and utterly right. Pat Cummins will be the face. He bowled well, took 5 wickets, had a bit of leadership there, but overall it's Smith calling the shots, and very dominantly so. And then, as I think you said, you said that Smith's vice captain, or Smith as captain, sorry, but Warner may be vice captain, but he's at first. Why is Warner at first slip and Smith at second slip? Is that the positioning of a captain? Captains normally go first slip. It's a very strong signal. So my money's still on 2-2. I'm supremely confident. We haven't seen the Melbourne Sydney Hobart test yet. That's where things will certainly be shaken up. But I think that the relationship to this ground, I thought England would win this, but they're going to have to really scratch away and salvage a draw, not a win. That's going to be the issue here, I'd say. Great day. Do you want to go down the West Beach with me? I can take you down the West Beach. We'll have a bit of a look down there, go for a bit of a walk on the Australian streets. What do we got here? England batting is shocking. Well, James, you can't say that. I mean, Milan and Root batted particularly well last match. Ben Stokes and Butler showed potential that they can do well, and so did Pope. Hamid was in his 20s, and Burns has been shocking, but Burns was the one that's shocking. Hamid's been ordinary. Let's see these next 5 do well. The 2 that are in, Root and Milano, they've got to get big scores, and they've got the wicket to do so. Then you've got your next 3, where if those 2 do well, then you'll have Stokes, Pope, and Butler to hopefully cash in. I would still hope to see England get well over 300, maybe 350. If they do that well, then they've recovered somewhat. The Freedom Test Series will be more competitive than the Ashes. When you say the Freedom Test Series, is that what they're calling India versus South Africa? The Freedom Test Series? I haven't heard that term before. If they can't score runs today, then they never will. You're right, Paul Newman, you're totally right. The conditions here are perfect. Blue skies, belt of dry pitch, bit of rain last night, but very little, won't be much of an effect. And you'll see them if they really have to bat well early, and they have to grind out, as did Australia in the first day, grind out of the lead and score centuries. These 2 have to get big runs, followed by Stokes, Pope, and Butler. Absolutely. Totally I agree. How are we going time-wise? I can't see what the time-wise factor is. $11:03. So it's 11:03 a.m. The game starts at 2:15 today. I need to make a bit of a move there. So, guys, as you can see, this is not about barrel, about not barrel, not about it's not about Bora Bora and Tahiti. It was with Jim 58. I thought I'd talk from the Pearl, which could well be could be in somewhere in Tahiti, but it's not. Our instincts is, I think, let's be honest, over the last 3 or 4 years, the best travelling test team has been India. There's no doubt. No doubt. England didn't do too badly in Sri Lanka, and they did okay in India. They haven't done that well so far here, but I think that India is by far and away the best. They had this fear, they've lost that fear factor. England had a terribly poor time to bat last night with the twilight, with the pink ball and a bit of rain about and thunder. They had a pretty hard run of it, to be honest, didn't they? So at this moment in time, it's what, 6 in the morning in India. They're all waking up to the situation. And those of you, I'm going to put those newspaper clippings together. I'm going to go to the beach down there and have a bit of a shower. I could continue this video actually and just go down there. You want to do that, guys? All right, I'm just going to see what I can do, and I'll just confirm that I can do that. Hang on a sec. I've got to get some. Guys, can you give me about 2 minutes? I'll come back and I'll leave this live. I'll just go and get myself a bit perked up, get the right clothes, and we'll go for a swim. All right. So we're heading towards the beach, okay, guys? Do you like baseball?
Baseball, I think.
Sorry, basketball.
No, not really.
No.
No, but as I said, this is about the only thing on.
Yeah. So we're going to continue on with this Bora Bora theme. We're going to go down to the beach at West Beach. Just going to go in there. All right. So Tony, I'm going to go down. I'll come back. Okay. So here we are, just leaving Tony's place. We're going to head down to the beach. So here I am in the local location called West Beach in Adelaide, South Australia. The very Great Australian Bight, they call it, which is an area down from the beach. You'll see it as we walk along. Interesting looking fruits there. I'm not sure what they are. See that? You wait until you see this water. You'll be very impressed. So these are the streets of Adelaide. Can't really should show you what's happening that way. Can you see that, guys? Person with a surfboard there. See the clearness of the water. Here we are, we're coming to West Beach. Not unlike a Bora Bora. Let's have a look. Can you all see that? Such a short walk and I'm already at the beach. So yes, this is, back behind me is Glenelg, which is one of the tourist spots of Adelaide. We're looking out to the water, that's the Great Australian Bight. If you look that way, basically you're heading for the Antarctic and Tasmania. Is basically, that's it between here and the rest is, that's about it really. And you have incredible viewing there. People on the beach. So yes, so Australia's going to be playing in these conditions very shortly. You can see, again, that way you can see some people there. So this is West Beach. So we want a Bora Bora in Tahiti, but we've actually got West Beach here in Adelaide. People are walking along, keeping fit. Quite an incredible structure. So it's quite a nice place indeed. Can you all hear me clearly? I hope you can. So going back to the test match today, we have a situation where Australia will have to bowl all day. Little gentleman here with a How are you? Good, good. Are you involved? You like cricket at all?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Would you like to come? I'm doing a little report. Would you like to talk? Because you're a local, I'm guessing.
I am. Yeah.
What's your name?
Dave.
Dave. Norm. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I shouldn't take any. We can. We can do.
Yeah,
All right. I'm live on a cricket channel in India as well as around the world.
Yep.
My channel is called Eyes on Cricket with Norman Project.
Right.
Your name is Dave. You said.
Yeah, that's right.
So what was your take on the first? I'll get my microphone ready for you. What was your take on the first couple of days of the test match?
I went to the first day.
Yeah.
And beautiful
Get
weather.
yourself in the microphone.
I went to the test on the first day.
Yep.
And really, really fantastic. Most absorbing day of Test cricket I've seen. I've been going to cricket every year
Right.
for about 30 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
It was, yeah.
It was Dower Test cricket,
Now
wasn't it?
it's full on. Back to Test cricket. I thought instead of being influenced by one days and Big Bash and T20.
Did you hold that?
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm trying to get
Yeah.
my hand sort of.
Yeah.
I should have a little hand mic.
Yeah, that's right.
There, go ahead.
Go. So so the first day I thought was quintessential Test cricket, back to what it should be. Dow and no influence of T20, Big Bash and the one day stuff.
Well, I mean, to see Warner, to see Labuschagne play the way they did, and even now Smith on the second day, it was very Dow. It was very impressive. The England bowlers weren't at all bad. I mean, Broad Anderson bowled particularly good lines. I thought the field placements weren't great, and the captaincy wasn't great, but they did very well. I'm still convinced that England will still do okay today. I think Milan and Root will stand up. They're going to have to. What's your thoughts?
Yes, I think the weather played a bit of a factor last night when it was called off about 40 minutes early, so we didn't have a lash at those two batsmen.
Yeah.
And like today, it should be a beautiful flat wicket. And if they're going to make runs, now they're going to make them.
Well, it's England's day, guys. It's England's day. They have to do something here. My Indian viewers are certainly Australia-centric. They love Australia, but I want to see a bit of a fight. I don't want it to go one way.
No.
Now, I mean, if you remember last series, Dave, of course that happened here. You had India losing the first match here, getting all out for 36. Joe Burns getting a 50. Yet at the end of the series, there was no Joe Burns. No. They lost Melbourne, drew Sydney, and lost Brisbane. So my thought process, even though it's a different kettle of fish, even though it's a different kettle of fish, different team makeup. I mean, India lost Kohli, they say. So down to Rahane, he was a good captain, but you would argue that they were down and out somewhat, and they weren't at their best. And you would think that there would have been an issue there, but they came out and all guns blazing, lost 8 or 9 of their players. They ended up winning the series.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was amazing. Now, I'm by no means saying that England are going to do the same thing, but you'd have to argue that there's a good chance that with a bit of luck, we might see a bit of a fight, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think the rub of the luck has definitely gone our way. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I feel the one thing I feel on day one that they had much of a muchness in their fast bowling. I thought they were all same pace, same length, same line, and not attacking the stump. So if they bring back their quick that they admitted this time, they haven't really got that balance right, I don't think.
No.
And once they do that in the next test, I think, like you say, and a bit of luck. You know, we've had a lot of luck, and they've had no luck.
See, I mean, I'm not convinced with Pat Cummins as a captain. Honestly, great bloke, great leader, great iconic person to have up front. Bowled well as a leader should, but I don't think he's really the captaincy material. What do you think that Warner and Smith are both really captaining the side? If you looked at the dynamics at the slips, you had Warner pointing fine leg to mid on to all sorts of things at first slip, and Smith was right next to him. Wasn't that a bizarre dynamic in a way?
Well, it is, but it also shows Cummings being all-inclusive and open to listening to advice from the more senior, more experienced bloke. So you can argue it either way.
Yeah.
And I think as a team, as a collective leadership group, it was his first test as captain and writing's on the wall. You can't win much better than that, can you?
No. Look, I understand what you're saying, but I'm a bit more, a bit more judgmental.
Yeah.
I find that the whole situation with Cummins, his level of experience as captain throughout his life is virtually zero. He was thrown into a T20 state match, and that doesn't sit well with me. Even though he's a great player, I'm not knocking it. And then there's even minor talk about Labuschagne. Now, Labuschagne hasn't captained his backyard cricket game, let alone bloody a test match. So they've got to get away from those stupidities, really. They have to look for people that have actually been a captain. Now, I'm going to go back quickly. Sorry to bother you with this one.
Right.
We had, Khawaja, to me, forgetting his form for the moment, which has been great, he's also won the Sheffield Shield as a Queensland captain. Now, and then you've got Travis Head, who was an Australian under-19 captain, and even Jason Sanger.
And he was vice captain as well of Australia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what concerns me. They're the players that I would look to who are experienced captains. Now, that's my issue, that I find that they're going back to Smith. They probably had to, but we've got to look towards the future now. And I do think that Head, certainly, I'm even saying Jason Sanger, New South Wales, which is, I'm a Sydney person, so I would say that. And then you've got the likes of Khawaja, who's actually captained Queensland to a winning Sheffield Shield. There's your form. That's your form. Not someone who's captained one match for New South Wales in a T20 match, whatever it was. There's something not right there. Wouldn't you agree that there's something not right with that preparation? You can't.
I think you're right, but the only problem with that those players that you're talking about is that neither of them are established in the side, are they? Khawaja's not even there, and Head.
But he should be. But he should be.
Both should be. But I think Cameron Green probably might be looking.
Future track, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, Khawaja, Harris, I'm afraid, he has to go.
The trouble is they won't get to bat again, and he won't be able to, put in a good score in the second inning. Well, I don't think they will.
I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. Will he be kept in if they win? Will he be kept in?
No.
I'd hope not. I hope they've got the guts to take him out of it. Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for your time.
That's
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, you've got eyes on cricket with Norman Kochnick. You've got eyes on cricket with Norman. You can't miss that.
All right, eyes on cricket.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you. Well, there you go. We've got very knowledgeable people in all areas of commentary here, not just in a commentary box, but walking along the beach with his dog. Very knowledgeable people who obviously love their cricket. This is a very knowledgeable crowd indeed. All right, guys, you can sign off here from West Beach in Adelaide. West Beach between Glenelg and Henley Beach. Place to visit one day. You've got basically Antarctica down there. You've also got Tasmania. Got not much between here and what you would call an area of sea, wilderness. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. Not Bora Bora in Tahiti, but it's been West Beach in Adelaide in Australia. Hope you join us soon again. This is Norman Kochnick, Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. Make sure that you go to the game show, which I'll be reporting from, and stay tuned. Please subscribe, hit the notification button, and share these posts. View, like, and share, and help me out. Instagram, Twitter is also there at Norman Koch. Norman Kochnick is my both my Facebook and, of course, my LinkedIn.